35.
It was a parochial school too.
Oh.
So actually got it.
That means you're held back.
Okay, great. All right, everyone, we will call this meeting of the Grand Marais Planning Commission to order. It is 5:31. With us tonight, we have David Kelly, Kelly Swearingen, and myself, Gary, from Entertainment. So the first thing we have is we have our minutes and our agenda. Kelly, have you had an opportunity to look over those minutes?
Yep,
Great. Are they all to your liking?
they are.
Great.
I will make a motion to approve.
I have a change to
Uh-oh.
put in there, yes. The minutes from our last meeting, it described that the Art Colony and Northwest Bookstore are located in HMU and Highway 61.
It's,
Just wanted that clarification.
Well, somebody probably said that in the meeting though.
Probably, but,
When you say we just remove that sentence entirely?
okay, fair enough. You know, you see discrepancies, go for that. Okay, but with that addition, I'll take that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Motion passes. All right. So we have two hearings today. So what we'll do is we'll have them in order. So if there's anybody who is here to make comments on the Great Expectation Foundation request, you can make your comments now, any of the public persons. Is there anybody for that? And then after that, when we get to the DAT or DAT, not sure, then we'll have comments at that time. But is there anybody for the foundation that wanted to make a public comment? Okay, great, so you guys want to come up? Make a statement. I'm sure we all heard from you last time, but
Yes.
just for everybody now to hear. Thanks. And if you guys just identify yourselves.
Oh.
We know who you are.
Howard Hedstrom, 90 County Road 60, Grand Marais.
Tim Kennedy, Great Expectations Foundation representative.
All right, so I guess, you guys want to just make a statement, or do you want us to start just asking questions?
Well, just for, I suppose, the public record.
Yeah.
We, just a little bit of background, we had a successful charter school for 20 years. Really good growth over the years, kind of busted out of the seams, and had a building project for many years, finally accomplished that a couple years ago. Only to experience enrollment declines immediately. This is a national trend of lower birth rates, and so now we are downsizing the classroom space that needed for the school, and we have quite a bit of space actually available to lease. And so we are advertising, leasing the space, could be any number of uses, offices, or who knows what. We're amenable to whatever's compatible with the school and the town use. In the process of looking at that, I discovered that that building is not zoned for office space because it's R1. So in discussions with Mike Ross, city administrator, we kind of looked at that and said, gee, it would be a can of worms to add office space use to an R1 district, and what would be more appropriate, as we discussed at the last meeting, was to move it to highway mixed use, which, if you look at the map included there, we're kind of surrounded by highway mixed use. And it makes a lot of sense, but then if you look at the highway, what's on the agenda, the word change or the zoning change? Both, okay.
Both
So,
are right.
Anyway, the highway mixed use makes a lot of sense for us. It
Yeah.
makes good sense for the area. You read through what's legitimate use of the highway mixed use, schools are not in there. So, the advice of the city administrator, and as we talked last week, your last time we met, it would be probably the best solution to go with a zone change to highway mixed use and then add some language in the highway mixed use ordinance to include school. So that's our request, and that's what's before, I think, you today. Did I sum that correctly?
I think so.
Okay.
Thanks, Howard. Clarification from you, Mike.
Yeah.
So we've got two pieces to this. I'm thinking it probably makes sense to have one whole conversation and then have two votes.
It doesn't make any sense to have one change happen without the other change happening, right?
So it's gonna be.
So I think it's one
It's
conversation.
one conversation.
Yeah.
All right. and then-
Whether you wanna do one vote or two votes, I think is up to you.
Yeah, okay. Very good. I mean, I do think there are two principal pieces that we do.
Yeah. There'll be two separate ordinances in front of the council, if you wanna think about it that way.
All right, that makes more sense to me. Okay, great, thank you. Tim, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think Howard gave a pretty good explanation to it,
Okay.
you know, and I think just to kind of reinforce what he said, the highway mixed-use district, which exists for much of the area of the Gunflint Trail from highway up to and past the law enforcement center, already exists, but it's kind of a hodgepodge of residential uses and commercial uses, not necessarily all consistent with the zone district that they're actually in. And so you have some R1 zoning, you have some mixed-use zoning. The Arrowhead Electric garage building is on a residential zone portion of the property. It's a commercial use, institutional type use. You know, of course, you have the law enforcement center, which is an institutional use, and the highway department, institutional type use and activity, but clearly commercial in that kind of nature. The school building, you know, I mean, really is, you know, we talked about is, you know, could be put anywhere, either within the highway mixed-use district or in any part of the residential zone district. But keeping it in the residential zone district restricts us in terms of the use of the building that we have. And you can see the zoning map, but also in your packet, the map that's shown in there too, with the indicated current uses of those properties. As you can see kind of the mixed bag that you've got there. And you know, we think that this makes the most sense to kind of straighten and clarify and continue really what has already existed. I mean, the school in the R1 district work fine, but it doesn't necessarily work if we want to try to expand the types of activities that go on in the school, which could include some other types of commercial activities.
Great, thanks, Tim. Commissioners, do you have questions? David, do you want to ask some questions?
I don't think so, not at this point.
Okay, got it?
I really don't.
Okay. I do have some questions. I'm wondering, you know, what I really don't like to see any R1 disappear. I feel like we want to keep our R1. And when I look at that map, I see the mixed use, but it's also surrounded by R1. And we have added R1 in that area in the last, I don't know, decade. And I feel like there's a stronger pull and push to have more R1, not less R1. Especially when we're talking about housing, and we're talking about housing for the people who live here. Or do you want to say something?
I do.
Okay, you go.
Because of the school, it's on a small footprint, we have expanded to the ability of the land. I mean, there's no more room to build there, so we're not taking away housing opportunities. If the school failed and we had to revert to open it up to apartment building or something like that, it's my understanding that would fit in highway mixed use. So there's no downside. You know, unless you tore the building down and then replaced it with houses, but I don't see that happening. I mean, you got a $4 million structure there, and you know, it wants to be utilized for something the highest and best use. Right now it's school with the addition of office space, if we can get that working.
Yeah.
So there is no extra property, because we're just,
Right.
you know, the expansions we've done, we've kind of bumped up against the setback, so there is no, you can't go put a house there, so we can't
Right.
fix housing the only way we can fix housing is turn it into an apartment building.
Right. Now, in the, you know, one of the things that was mentioned when we talked about the highway mixed use was talking about the RCN. as possibly another analogous sort of area in our community. And what we've seen happen in the RCN is slowly but surely we've been losing homes there. One after the other has turned into a VRBO. And to me, that's what I'm thinking about. Like when we decide to move things out of R1, which is the only area in the entire county where we can't have VRBOs. So I feel very strongly that we need to retain that area. And I fundamentally think that schools were meant to be in the R1. That is where they were intended to be. That is where they are. They've been there happily for 20 years or more. And I think, when we're talking about this, I see that you guys have a problem. You've come to us with a problem that you want us to solve. But I think it's a temporary problem, right? Because you're saying that you overspent or you overbuilt for what has happened.
In hindsight, yes.
Yes.
I mean, projections at the time were straight up, we had a waiting list, and all of a sudden, choo, and I don't know if nobody predicted COVID, nobody predicted the real steep downturn in birth rates and that sort of, so, but yes, do we hope that we can go back and utilize the whole building as a school? Absolutely. So, I don't know where you're going with that, but,
Well, I guess where I'm going with that is I feel like, we're making a permanent change, more or less. Like, yeah, we could go back and redo it, but it is unlikely
Yeah.
that we would do so. And then there'd be more of a push to add more to the highway mixed use in that area. And I would not want to see that either.
I don't follow the logic, I guess, but.
Well, the finding that you need to make is there shall exist a clear public need for benefit from additional zoning of the type proposed.
And I don't see.
Which shall be above and beyond any benefit or convenience to the landowners. So if you do decide to change this from R1 to HMU, you're saying, we need more HMU zoning. That's one of the findings you have to make.
Yeah, and then, even looking at
Could we
Just
not
the language
put
piece.
office space into R1?
You sure could.
When I think about it, there's people that have beauty shops, their own single beauty shop in R1. There's people that have, we just did something, well, you did, I wasn't here yet, but I spoke on behalf of it, a nail shop,
Yeah,
a nail
home-based
salon
business,
in
yeah.
R1. People do tax preparations in their home in R1.
They don't lease out their home to a different business.
They don't, but I understand, and I'm with Michael in the fact that somewhere along the lines, and I said it last time, that we need to be proactive, not reactive. And you're right, we keep shrinking residential. It gets eaten up and all these other things come in, and the big thing is VRBOs. We know there's a housing shortage. I'm sorry, but apartment buildings don't solve people who want to move here and live here and raise families. I work at the hospital, we have couples, individuals coming in all the time, professionals, making good money that cannot buy a house in Grand Marais. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I feel like, starting with us, we need to be really bold in some of our decisions and the things that we do, planning for where do we want Cook County to go, not only in the next 1, 2, 5 years. I want to look 20 years down the road, because that's what you need to do, is look 20, 30, 40 years. I had somebody tell me a long time ago here at a council meeting that you need to look after the next 7 generations. I don't know that I can see that far out because that's a long way, but I might be able to see 2 generations out from me. And I want to help work this out and figure out this problem. Does it make sense to give up residential? I don't know. Does it make sense that all of a sudden we put leased business space in? I don't know. Can we put in a timeline? What can we do to be creative and go outside the box a little bit to try to work something out to help them and to benefit our community. Because we need to do something to benefit our community. And shrinking our residential neighborhoods, even though there's not gonna be a house there, there are houses. I'm not super comfortable with that either. And that's why when you said you have questions, I don't have, I guess I do have questions, but they're thoughts more than they're question marks, because sometimes you can't just answer the question yes or no.
So, Mr. Chair, this really sounds like a raw land discussion. It's not raw land. I mean, there's a building there. It's there. The building, the original building has been there for 20 years. We built a really nice structure. There's no reason to believe that whole structure won't be there for the next 50 or 60 years. So if this was a raw piece of land and we were suggesting the highway mixed use instead of R1, I would get your argument. But it's already occupied. It's set there. It fits within law enforcement and Steve Sports. It's all in the line. It's right on the highway. It's not a trade of residential for
Yeah, and I guess the
anything.
thing is, Howard, is that I just feel like this has worked fine for over 20 years. It has worked in that district. It belongs in that district. When we read through the uses for HMU, it doesn't sound like a place you really want to be trucking your kids to necessarily. And I get that you're saying like, here it is now and it's going to
Yeah.
change, but it's going to keep changing.
Don't know
It's
that.
pivot time, Howard,
Pivot
definitely.
time.
Pivot time here.
Well, and I think too, what you have is a school in a district, whether it's residential or mixed use, that's a mixed use district. I mean, by its nature. You have residential uses on the other side of the Gunflint Trail, you have a storage garage, you have a painting business, you've got contractors, you've got a grocery store, all that stuff. The school has been there for 20 years in the residential district.
Right.
Yeah, which has worked fine. I mean, it hasn't been an issue that it's been in the residential district or that it's not been in the mixed use district for all this time. The issue really comes down to the ability for that school to be successful, the foundation is doing all they can. They're the owners of this building. The foundation owns this building. It's not the same as the school district that's on the tax rolls and levies funds for it. They operate at the regulation and whims of the state and how they provide funding to charter schools. And that's the challenge, because if that school isn't being used, the school is only leasing a portion of the building, and the economic viability of owning that building is a problem. So the success of Great Expectations, and I think that's where you want to look long term.
I think, Tim, that, and I think that's where Kelly's going, is like, we want to find something. We don't think that this is necessarily it. And to be clear, I was on the foundation board before, back in the day. So I understand, and I am sympathetic, but I just don't think that this is our answer. There may be an answer, and it may be something along the lines of what Kelly was suggesting, but I don't think that this is the answer.
We have churches, parish homes, convents, children's nurseries, and schools is what's allowed principally in the residential zone, which is why they have what they have.
Well,
What they're trying to operate is something that's accessory to that school use, really.
so principally, it is a school. I
Yeah.
mean, how many square feet are you talking about and having potentially to lease out?
At the current time, we have about 3,000 square feet in the new school building. There's 1,000 square feet in the auxiliary building we built to house the students when we were over capacity. So it's about 4,000 square feet. The upstairs, which I was talked into saying we gotta build in the future, we should put the upstairs there. There's another 4,000 square feet. It's not built out, it's just space right now. So we have the potential told somebody that we have the premier leasing space in Grand Marais. We have terrific space, it's very nice space, it's efficient and heated and lighted, and it's great, you know, we just, as far as just business, you know, I wouldn't wanna limit us to just offices, because there might be, you know, printing, light industrial, there might be some activity that would be compatible with the building.
So I'm gonna go back again. Square footage,
Yeah.
3 and 1 is 4, and 4 is not built out, but are you saying it could be 4, it could be 8? I mean, what's
It's
the
right now
size
it's
of your
four. Right now
school
it's
then?
4. Right now it's 4.
Okay,
And nobody looking at that 4, we certainly hopeful, but, you know, the other 4 is really aspirational, it's upstairs, it's not built out. So,
So there's
So potentially 8,
potential.
correct?
yeah, long term.
4 ready and.
Or the population increases and we go back to, you know, filling it with school activities. But, you know, as any building owner, the foundation is the building owner.
right.
There's a mortgage, we have one primary tenant, and that primary tenant, we reduced their lease by $40,000 a year because they get funded per student and they don't have enough students. I mean, we either say, gee, you made us build this building, you should pay us everything that we need, which then takes dollars away from the education. We don't wanna do that. So we're trying to backfill and say, okay, how can we pay the mortgage and
Right.
have compatible use? And I mean, it's, I know it puts you in a tight spot. You didn't cause this, you didn't ask for this. However, you know, as I look at it, I mean, it seems to be pretty straightforward. Highway mixed use would be a nice zoning. I mean, I don't know, but you guys are deciding that,
Yeah, and I hear you
yeah.
on that.
Dave?
Well, I just was thinking that, if we agree to your proposal, are there raw lots that can be built on that would be affected by it, or would it just be that footprint? Cause I can't quite tell. There's 2 vacant lots behind, and then there's
We are talking about the lot that the foundation owns.
yeah,
Just that lot.
just that lot. So we wouldn't necessarily be taking housing opportunities away if we were to change that. Is just my question in a broader sense.
Well, I mean, sure, I mean, in
Because
the
again,
short term,
yeah, the building is there, so is a $4 million building gonna be torn down?
no, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing to consider is that what we have, what is likely and has happened, is people will say, well, I wanna have that.
Right,
I wanna have that zoning. I wanna be able to do
Sure.
that.
yeah,
And that's part of what we're talking about.
yeah,
But we, I mean, yes, there are the facts on the ground, but there's also, what are we saying? Because in
Right.
here, it's not, it's kind of, you know, what is in the public good? And that's one of the things we're supposed to say, like,
Sure.
this is for the public good.
Right.
We see that it is for the foundation's good.
right,
But
Yeah.
how is that really
Yeah.
public good? And then,
Right.
like we've said, I mean, we are interested in something. We're just not sure that this is, or I'm not sure that this is it.
What I'm hearing Kelly you ask about is, and comparing to, is home occupation accessory use in the residential zone. Is there some path to modify the zoning in residential to have a similar conversation with the school about this as an accessory use? Now, it doesn't fit right now,
No,
but that model of, is it accessory to the schools, which we've already said is okay, and then what do we wanna know about to make sure it's appropriate? Parking, hours of operation, other impacts on the neighborhood, the things that we do talk about when someone in R1 zone comes and talks about a business use.
right.
Right.
Can we add that? It seemed awkward to look at that language and write up a conditional use that says things that are traditionally, an accessory use in a school, cause I don't know what that means.
Sounds like a great big math formula.
I mean, just figuring out how much of the space before you consider it accessory is one thing, but what uses are typically accessory to a school that
Well-
aren't churches or parishes or nurseries or what we've already got on the list, it suddenly becomes,
Yeah, I mean, there are, I mean, that information's out there. I mean, certainly I've looked at, you know, what have other schools done,
Yeah.
other charter schools done in terms
it's not
of-
how they're gonna do their leasing, right? They're gonna figure out who wants the space and that's who they're gonna lease it to.
But we can give some guidelines to that, have some numbers.
So that's maybe where the conversation needs to go is, doesn't seem like people have a problem with the concept of them leasing the space commercially at that high level.
I mean,
So then as
to
you
me,
drill
it's
down
their
into details,
insurance.
is there anything about that that you wanna set bumpers on or not?
I don't, I think that, I hope that, I believe that their board would be able to choose that. I mean, they're sitting there allowing people to come in and be around small children and their students. I'm hoping that they make the choices to do what's best for the children that are there. It's a school first and foremost. So I don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of it. I was just trying to figure out how we, because I hear what you're saying, and it'll follow through to the next conversation that we have, right? And I'm gonna go back to, I think we need to start being bold. So bold that maybe we set directions for other places that go, look what Grand Marie's doing. As far as this one, you know, like I said, it's always reactive, right? We built the Gunflint Trail, rerouted it for trucks, and then people went and built homes on it, and then are mad that trucks are going down it.
That's just-
I don't know what you know, there's another business up above that's been built in now. I'm not opposed to what you're asking, I'm really not. If we're talking about one parcel of land that isn't gonna change, the building's not gonna go away any day soon unless we suddenly have a tornado hit that spot or a natural disaster or sinkhole.
It is sprinklered, so I mean, we're not.
I think we need to go back to the drawing board here, is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. And we need to bring you a different path to make this happen. And it's probably something like, is there an approval process for an accessory use in the R1 zone that would meet this need?
Sounds right. Should we agree, Kel?
Is it gonna fit in the R1 zone somehow? How would we make it fit into R1?
I wanna link it to the school use specifically.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think there's a path that way that
Okay.
keeps it narrow enough.
But I can't off the cuff tell you how to do it, cause I didn't really like that idea the first time.
Well, they're more
Should
like,
we consider?
Look what the
Just wanna
blonde
make
did,
it work
huh?
for you.
Yeah, I guess I would really like to see what, and not that what they're proposing doesn't make sense, I understand it, but I would like to kind of really lay out all our options. What can we do, and like I said, be outside the box a little bit to do what's best for the community as a whole.
Probably worth the action tonight being a vote on their rezoning request.
Okay,
And then, depending on how that goes, we just won't even worry about the language change, or we'll have to take action on that next.
so take a vote on, so somebody'd have to make a motion
Yes,
for that piece.
yes.
Can I just ask then, if that's the path that we're gonna take, can we say we are gonna try and find a solution that works with the parameters that we have, or
Yeah,
is a vote, and that's it?
that's it, yeah, for sure, no commitments. You can try to make, try to make it work, but you're not making any commitments. We've got time here still too, if you wanna just wait till next month and see what we can come up with.
I was gonna say,
I was-
rather than making a motion to say no to it, because in the end, might we come back to that and say, okay, we've looked at all options, this makes the most sense. Then I'd rather say, are we on board with that because we've exhausted everything, or are we not?
Yeah,
I'd rather make that, so I would propose a motion that we table this
Okay,
until next month, until we can look at other potential options.
I would second that.
And would you be
Second.
willing to amend that to also extend the 60 days you've got to review this another 60 days?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make that addition, the motion,
Yeah.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Well, just a comment about it, and I think just back to your, kind of, looking at it, Kelly, looking at the bigger picture, that, the foundation certainly has the interests of the school. I mean, that's the reason they exist, so they can keep that school in operation. The types of uses that potentially could go in there, I mean, as Howard says, we really don't know. I mean, you could say office, but somebody can come along with some idea that, might be completely compatible. But there are other uses, and I think Howard mentioned it last time, somebody that wanted to operate a dispensary had approached him about it. And he said, well, obviously that's not gonna work.
Doesn't work
I
with
mean,
children.
but I think those kind of uses and activities are all already regulated by the state in terms of, really, being allowed in proximity, I think.
Regulated by us too.
Yeah.
Well, and, places that sell alcohol are not allowed within a certain distance of,
Yeah.
these types of uses too. So recognizing that there's already, mechanisms in place to restrict certain types of use.
Yeah.
But, I can certainly understand that, something that is gonna make a lot of noise is gonna be very disruptive to a school. I mean, you wouldn't want to have that kind of a use in there or something. I mean, it's really, that's really clearly not appropriate for that kind of a setting, where, students are around and kids are around and, we don't want that either. The foundation doesn't want it, the school isn't gonna want it. We don't wanna create, conflict between the foundation and the school board. I mean, there's two separate organizations, but recognizing.
Let's offline see what we can come up with
Yeah,
here.
well, and I don't want this to be an endless process. I mean, last meeting was a month ago. It was probably 2 or 3 weeks prior to that I had the discussion with Mike. Now we're gonna be another, I don't know how, whatever your next board meeting is, another month.
A month from now.
So, yeah, if we, and then we do get somebody that, gosh, we really like the space, it's an office, when can we move in? It's gonna have to be, sorry, either that or we violate the code for a while.
I would recommend that.
Well, let's postpone it up to 60 days is better than no,
Yeah.
is how I see it too, so.
Yeah, I get it, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well,
But Howard, I would expect that we'll have something for you next time.
yeah, but we,
One way or another.
it's,
They're stuck.
it's a two-step process, getting the zone change and finding a tenant are really critical to the success of the school, so.
Yep.
Thank you for all your thoughts and deliberations on it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. All right.
Great, now you're all warmed up. Do a real public
So
hearing.
now, did that go through?
Public hearing, that was pretty.
Right, there wasn't so much of that.
Now
Okay.
we'll go back to public comment again.
Yes, we'll do public comments again, and this is for, and Cindy, can I ask, is this DAT, D-A-T holding?
How do you pronounce
It's DAT Holdings for
DAT.
Dylan, Abby, and Tate.
Ah, there we go.
That's our kids.
So we are now on to the DAT Holdings conditional use request. Anybody would like to make public comments, this is your moment. You can come up here, identify yourself, and give us your comments. Go ahead, Todd. Oh, sorry. No? All right, very good. Not gonna do it. Anybody?
Well, I don't need to move up to
There you
that chair, I'm fine in this chair.
We'd
That's all
prefer
right.
if you did, so that
Because
you
we
can
have
be
to
right with the
identify you.
microphone
Oh,
and in the
okay,
camera.
okay, I will
Thank
do
you,
that.
appreciate that.
Well, I'm one of the only residential properties, except you and I,
Would you mind just
and right now,
introducing yourself quick?
Sally Berg,
Thank you.
and I have two properties that have rentals close to me. Todd and Susan have rentals, and Dave and Mary Kate. And I can say that I've never had any problems because there's always someone on site. And their guests have been lovely. You know, if anything, it's just you make a few extra friends when they walk by or whatever. I've also had a problem with that property when we first moved to our house. And you never know sometimes who the long-term rentals are, but this was a small cabin that I think it was renting to 5 young guys who were doing an awful lot of drinking all hours of the night, and they were in the alley and using my backyard as a bathroom. And fortunately, our bedroom wasn't getting a lot of the noise, but when my daughter stayed there, her bedroom did, and she walked out and asked them to quiet down, and they told her to go blank herself. And so it was really, really concerning on my part that there's someone really responsible, like the other vacation rental properties, that can address those kinds of issues so that it doesn't completely change the lives of people who were living there all the time. And I know it can be done because I see it happening on a daily basis with the other 2 vacation rentals. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Sure.
I'm Reed Lindquist,
Okay.
Russell's Cottages, 25th Avenue West.
Gotcha.
My only question is, I haven't seen any plans. I have no idea what they're going to do other than a proposal. So my biggest concern would be affecting the height restriction. If that's going to be something that's going to be monitored. I don't know if they're expanded beyond what Ed Lind and Jan Nosker had for over 50 years. So these are kind of things I have concerns about, because
Okay.
either if they're gonna update it, that's fine, I get it. It's long overdue. But the question is, sometimes we don't have a whole lot of people monitoring what happens once the building starts. Anyway, so that's my concern, more than anything. And I haven't seen any plans regarding any of the buildings or anything like that. And there is, I guess, the concern that hopefully somebody's living on the property, that owns the property. That's another thing that's a concern to me as well, as opposed to just leaving it as totally a rental place and turns into your concern, where we're back to everything surrounding us becomes a vacation rental property. So,
All
with
right.
that said, I know, I mean, the property's been there in the family as long as it's been in our family, the Russell's place. So, with that said, those are my big concerns.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else? Once, twice, alrighty. DAT Holdings, you are up. Yeah.
I'm not the talker usually.
Oh, okay, right.
The
Well,
planner.
we'll just identify yourselves and give us your statement. Little pressure.
Rick is the talker of
Oh,
our
okay.
family.
I see.
So I'm Cindy Crawford.
Rick.
Rick Crawford,
Tate Crawford.
our youngest, Tay Crawford.
Great.
He's the T of the DAT.
Gotcha.
I guess I don't know where to start. I've never done this before, so.
Sure. Well, just tell us what you're planning on doing with this spot.
Um,
You could address
our-
some of the concerns that people have.
Yeah, so our plan is to, we're not doing any huge changes. We are going to, we would like to upgrade. Some of those buildings need to come down. And we're not making them, any different than what you're seeing. The only thing that you will see is that there's the basements, there's 3 of them that have basements. They need maybe 1 or 2 courses more so that we can walk under them, use them, put utilities down in there.
Okay.
The rest of them, the roof lines, we'd like to change the pitch a little bit. It's not gonna be anything, right now they're like, what are they, 412? Maybe a 512, 612. But otherwise there is no second stories. pretty basic. I mean, they're gonna relatively look the same, I mean, just newer. We are going to have somebody on site, when this is all complete. We are in the stages of our plans. I do have a couple of rendition drawings, they're so basic that, I mean,
All right.
they're
Yeah, no,
we're not
very good.
proposing any huge, condos, anything like that, even though I did joke with a couple of people about it, I was just kidding. We wanna do what's there, we're actually would like to bring life back into Noskers Resort. I don't want to be held to anything, that's why I put it as 9 units with 1 residence. I cannot clean 9 units, so, I mean, our goal is to make a few of them long-term rentals.
Okay.
I don't know which ones as of right now. And that's why I just don't wanna be held to anything, that's why I put the 9 plus the 1 residence. So, cover everything, or?
Sure, sure. So I had a question. So will that person in the one that you've identified, the residence,
Yep,
is that going to be like a site manager then? Or
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, be the manager.
Great, great, all right. And then in terms of heights, anybody wanna identify the heights of like how anybody's gonna be super tall or anything more?
Yeah,
than-
pretty much just the same thing, just
Same
redoing
thing.
everything, redoing foundations, new water, sewer, all that, new heating systems, new walls, new everything. We're just tearing them down and re-putting back up what's there.
Okay,
2 courses a block and go from 412 to 612, sounds like
Yeah.
5 feet to me.
Nothing dramatic, you know?
yeah,
Just trying to clean up some of the downstairs stuff so we can pour slabs in some of the foundations that have clearance and fix some of the water problems that Jan had in his house and stuff like that, so,
okay,
yeah.
great.
so everything will be single story. There is no doubles, no second stories planned on any of these.
Got it. Great. Thank you for that. Commissioners, do you have questions?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep them all in the head straight. So in the application, it says small scale lodging, the 9 units, as short-term rental. Now you're mentioning, Cindy, maybe potentially long, goal is long, but you don't know. I'm
We-
curious to numbers and what your thoughts are.
Right, so we have to do this in phases because, you know, we're workers, we, you know, we can do what we can financially, so we're gonna do to make the numbers work, we have to do the short-term rentals first. Otherwise, it would not make numbers work. Long-term rentals do not work on this for financially, for the price that we are paying for this property. So we're gonna start with the short-term rentals, we're starting with 5 of them, we're gonna put up, there's a garage there, but it needs to be repaired, so we're gonna repair that. So that would be our first thing if things go through. And then the following year, we're either gonna fix the house up or we're gonna replace the house. It's just, cause it was added on. So we have our contractor that we're working with that's gonna let us know the best route for that.
I don't know if I can ask this question or not, but it's in here. Rob sent an email stating you have permission to apply for the conditional use.
Rob
Is it-
still owns the property right now, we close Tuesday.
Okay, that was my question. I
You
didn't
can
So,
know if it
and
definitely
I-
ask, yeah.
I didn't know if it was contingent upon what we said if you would purchase it or not, or what was going on. So I'm like, this is really strange to just have this little short message. So I was like, okay.
No, so we don't, the building season up here is so short, so I
Right.
wanted to get onto this so we can start right away here in September.
You mentioned 5 to start, so are they all going to be knocked down?
Those ones, yes,
So
They
the
will.
5 that you would start with
yep,
would be knocked down?
Correct.
The others would remain as they are
The house.
for the
well,
time being.
We're gonna take the garage down, and then there is another one that we're going to take down because as long as we're doing it, we're taking it down. You can't, it's not habitable.
Sure.
I mean, there's actually a few of them that are not habitable.
Right.
If I was to bring you in there, it's,
Yeah.
they're just not habitable. So we're just gonna get everything back up to code. I mean, so everything is functioning as it should.
So my question is, if you're gonna rebuild the 5, get them habitable,
Yep,
and start with short-term rental, that is the most lucrative
yep.
way to go about it. Would you then start to rebuild the other 4 structures? Or they're gonna remain, so
Yeah.
then once you have potentially renters, would you then start taking those other buildings down
Correct.
while you have renters?
Well, cause we're gonna split it. Those are on the lower part of
And
the
that was,
property.
yeah, so
Yep.
that's where I was going, yeah.
Yep, so those are on the lower part of the property so that we don't disrupt what's going on.
Right, that was my question, so they're gonna be segregated,
Correct,
got it,
yep. We're hoping we can save a couple of the upper cabins,
without having to knock them down,
right,
got it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
yes.
Great, thank you. Anything more?
I'm still struggling, obviously, from the first conversation. I am, and we've talked about this, it was a resort, but it's been rentals. I'll just leave it at that. They've been rentals for over 35 years, long term, for those that have been. It is something that we sorely need in our community, so I struggle with this. And have to figure out, that's why I like the discussion, where my brain wants to go and how to do this. I would like to see long-term, and I think that there can be really good long-term rentals. I know multiple professionals that I work with daily who are looking and have that ability. We have countless school teachers that come in. And not that professionals or school teachers are all great renters or clean. They could be no different than the 21-year-old that's coming out of college who's gonna be great. But yeah, that's where I struggle with all of it. I like the idea that everything needs to be fixed and revamped. It absolutely does. I've driven through the neighborhood. I remember what that whole neighborhood looked like 35 years ago. I don't like the changes that have happened there. Personally, nothing against anyone, I just don't like what I see there. We've lost a lot, and again, I like the thought of bringing residential back into our community. When you drive up and down streets and see houses sit vacant, my whole neighborhood is vacant. I'm in the middle of the town, 2 blocks up from the brewery, and my whole neighborhood sits half vacant. It just, yeah, that's where I struggle.
Yeah.
I know what they're gonna do is good. I have no doubt my faith in them is 1,000%. I just struggle with it.
No, agreed.
Right, I understand that, that's why we bought it, property in the multi-use area. I mean, I would not be trying to do this anywhere outside of what is allowed, that's in there. And we know what's allowed to be put in there, and we don't wanna change anything that's there. They've only had a few renters in those places. And,
Yeah, I'll go back, like I said, I can go back
Yeah.
35 years.
oh
and
yeah,
it was
I used
more.
to stay in one of them,
different.
so I know what they look like. And they look identical to when I
Yeah.
stayed in there.
I know they do, Cindy, I agree.
So-
And I know it falls in mixed use, and this certainly falls in the mixed use thing.
Yeah.
Again, my thought is, when do we get bold enough to say maybe we need to change and redact? And I don't know that it's this project, I don't know, I'm not intentionally going, oh, well, we're gonna do it to them, but somewhere along the line, how do we fix
Right.
some of this
Well,
is where I struggle.
And yeah, and it's good to struggle. I mean, it's good to have the conversation, have the thoughts, and go through the process, and that's why we're here. I think this is where this should happen. And clearly it was happening. I mean, I do take some solace in the fact that you're saying, like, we may have some in there that will be year-round, or not year-round.
Long-term.
Long-term rentals. And that there'll be somebody on the site who will be looking after things. I think that's a good thing.
Dave, what am I missing? I need other sounding boards.
I mean, well, we can have further conversation offline, but I think right now, I would definitely make a motion to approve this conditional use request for the DAT Holdings.
I would second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. This will go to the council next week.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
I assume when you said offline, you mean now.
Right. I mean, I guess I was thinking like weekend talk, so when we can have a broader conversation. Because I know I'm with you. I mean, I think that there is some conversation to be had. It was kind of like I was talking about with the whole Dunfield Trail. You know, it's definitely Tracy's brought it up numerous times, like, what is going on here? Is this how we want it to go? Same with the rest of that, so we mixed use that's there, so now it's not east end, right there. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, there's how it is. There's that and another conversation. We talk about what those districts look like, and how they function, and maybe we do wanna think about, I mean, again, it's a point of the community and saying,
Right.
hey, what do you guys think? Here's some thoughts.
You're looking for something where other communities are looking for us, for an example. Vacation rentals is it. Not many towns have a zone where they just say they're not allowed. It's pretty rare. Like that was an unintentionally bold step, we'll call it.
Right.
That has worked out for us.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason our neighborhoods are vacant isn't vacation rentals.
It's not all vacation rentals, I recognize that.
And I don't know how you.
But that also allows people the ability to buy property that maybe they wouldn't have. Cindy said it, you know, if we can't do the short term and get some cash flow coming in,
Yeah,
this isn't feasible. I think that happens with people who buy their, many, not all. There's a lot of people that walk up here and pay cash for a second house. But we have people who go, well, I can do this now, maybe it's gonna be my retirement home, but in the meantime, here's how cash is king and I'm gonna do this.
yeah.
That's called free enterprise, I'm not opposed to that either. And we're not alone, you know, other communities in many states are having these difficult conversations. And I just think that we need to have these conversations and try to figure out how do we move some of this around. I might not stop people from having second homes, and I'm not out to stop anybody, but I am out to figure out a way to turn our community back into a community. When you live within the city limits and you live in the residences and your kids walk to school and, you know, I used to walk home from volleyball at 1 in the morning when I got off the bus because every place that I walked by when I came home was an occupied residence. And if anything would have happened, I had a door to run to and I know who they were. Call me lucky. But we don't have that now. And we have cell phones, but how many people fearful are, you know,
Yeah.
there's something comforting about having neighbors going away, knowing your neighbors are watching your house, knowing who's next door to you. I think that's something that people somewhat long for as well who are living within the city. I could be wrong.
No. I don't think
Nah.
you're wrong there at all.
Okay.
No, you're not.
No.
And I can offer that a lot of that, what you're describing very accurately, what you're describing is extremely accurate. It's also driven by the people that live there. We moved here from Richfield 2.5 years ago. I knew all of my neighbors. I knew all of my neighbors because I made an effort to know my neighbors.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you start to, and small towns are different, and I grew up in a very small town, but I think that those things kind of go hand in hand. You develop that sense of community when there's a community, and I think I think we're part of this, even though we're older, my wife and I, is that we are part of the community. I told you, we bought the Hommerdings place.
Yep.
We found their mailbox, we turned it into a bird feeder with their name on it, so we could remember that. And so, and also I will say this, we are short-term rental owners. We are at the very edge of town. We are behind Putt and Pat. We did that on purpose. We bought that lot, Tom Healy's very last lot, for a reason, because we wanted, well, obviously we knew how things were zoned,
Right.
but we wanted to be separate but part of town, if that makes sense. Not everybody's gonna do that.
Right.
But I think, you know, when we talk, I mean, I know that, that we have, I mean, zoning rules are kind of blunt instruments, right? They're
Yeah.
not great. They're not gonna create what you're talking about. But I think something that you're kind of going towards that we do have now, that we didn't have before in the R1, is people having an accessory dwelling unit. And we've made that a possibility.
Yeah.
So it's not the same as short term and whatever.
Right.
But at least it's a potential
Of
thing for
course.
somebody to think about, like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't quite afford it, but maybe if I had an ADU, I could make this work, you know, that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, not the greatest method,
Yeah.
but it's something. It's a way of doing that. But I think what we're doing right now is what you're talking about. That's the community. That's what we're talking about. That's this
Yeah,
conversation.
and starting the conversation, and, you know, by doing it here, I don't know how many people pay attention, whether they read a paper, whether they watch it online. You know, and hopefully they'll come back and give us some feedback, or counsel, or Mike, or whoever. Because as I talk to people, I hear it, you know, I work, like I said, I work with people every day going, my sister moved back, we were born and raised here. My sister can't buy a home for her 2 kids here. She's never gonna be able to buy a home for her 2 kids here. And people that leave and wanna come back are struggling, and I look at, you know, I look at the prices of houses and what they're going for, and $500,000 and you gotta go replace the whole kitchen and think, that's not people that are living here making the wages that
Right,
are getting paid.
right.
I just, can't fix it all tomorrow, and there isn't one fell swoop that's gonna fix it all, right? But if we start to talk about things, and like I said, try and be a little bit proactive, how can we move this along? How can we figure some things out? Short of me winning the lottery and buying up everything that I can and then turning around and losing half of my money.
That would be lovely though,
Because
wouldn't
I
it?
say, here, just pay me $100,000 and it's yours. I
Well,
can afford to lose it.
Yeah, it's certainly a broader conversation.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna take the public to, you know, come in, and
Yeah.
I don't know, everybody came today for a purpose, but nobody wanted to speak. It's like, I wish people would just share their thoughts too.
I think they were just curious, quite a few of them. I mean, the questions I heard were the ones that were brought tonight. What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
That's the question. So that, I mean, to me, that's also a purpose of the public hearing, is not just to gather input, but
Right.
also for folks to see and learn
What's
and
happening.
understand. So I thought it worked really well.
well,
Yeah.
pretty much, when I saw who it was, then I went, oh, well, this will be
Yeah.
quality work, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I know what they do,
They'll do
so
good.
it will definitely enhance that neighborhood tremendously, which it's in need of.
I think it's great that they're going to have someone living on site for the
Yes.
management of the site. It's great. But also, it's a success story where vacation rentals and similar uses have provided folks with opportunities to have housing here, because that is our main industry now.
Yeah.
And I've got neighbors, we got a lot of neighbors that are close to us that are only there because they're managing or they're operating or they own rental properties. That was their in, to be in the community and live here and make a living here. So it's offered that benefit to folks too, at the same time that it's put the pressure on. I wish there was something we could do that would make it easier for folks with incomes here to be able to enter the market without disrupting the market. Boy, it is a complicated
I know.
issue.
I mean, even when we're looking at, and I know I understand what you're saying about the apartments, but it's a way to start. I mean, it is something, you know.
It is a
and
way to
it's not-
start,
It's not
but-
the solve, right? But
They
it
weren't
is-
they were not gonna rent those cabins, and we didn't want them to
No, oh God, no.
affordably.
Oh,
So-
yeah, no, I wasn't thinking, but I was thinking.
No.
But that issue, even that the idea that we can go back to the way it was 35 years ago, not without a lot of money, and then how does that work? It's the same old question, right?
Right.
How do we pay for this?
How do you pay for it?
Yeah, and the,
Even if you
you
have the
know,
best.
I realize the apartments are a place to start,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much what it is, right? We had a couple people that rented there while they were either building a house or doing something else. We've also got some people that I work with that can barely afford to live there.
Yeah.
So you make just too much to get that
Right.
little bit of a break, but you don't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So,
Right?
yeah.
You can't even just give them a big raise, because that won't help. Well, you can, though. Go ahead.
Well, that's kind of nice too.
I don't get that option.
Can't you just put that zero right? Just add that there.
That's not in my wheelhouse of what I have to do, thank God, but, yeah, so, anyway,
All right.
I wear my heart on my sleeve about it, I'm not gonna mince my words, I just, I
Yeah.
wanna look at ways we
great.
can.
It's great conversation, it's great work.
Yeah.
Nice work, everyone. I'd say we're probably adjourned.
Sounds good.